Here's what Rav Zuriel says. He's talking about faith in God. Sometimes not necessarily blind faith, but the right amount of faith. It says in Yirmiyahu, something surprising. They're asking, this is one part of the Torah. I think this is also read on Tisha B'Av. It's a fast day. They're asking, what happened? Why did God have so much anger towards the people of Israel and destroy the temple and send them into galus? And the Navi answers, Al asher azavu avotechem othi ne'um Hashem. It is because your ancestors abandoned me, saith the Lord. Lothi azavu with torthi lo shamaru. It was me that they abandoned, and they did not observe my Torah. So here's the kasha. What's the kasha? If you wanted to formulate this, you should start with the light transgressions and then go to the major transgressions. You have all the major transgressions first. Okay? It's like they abandoned the entire Torah and they didn't wash nigel vaser. Okay? That's from the kaved to the kal. Yes, I know they abandoned the entire Torah. So it says, Achareshis kirsha azvu et Hashem. Once he mentioned they abandoned God. Okay? They neglected him. Why do you also say, and they didn't keep the Torah? Oh, okay. In Medrash Eicha, okay? God says they could have abandoned me, forgotten about God, but at least they should have kept the Torah. What is that like? A person doesn't even believe in God. He puts God aside, but he keeps the Torah. What kind of character is that? People like that. It's like praxis. That's like the Apikoros who the great Apikoros of Warsaw, who keeps all the mitzvahs. On Erev Shabbos, he was going to the mikveh and had no time. He was getting ready for Shabbos, and he led the services on Shabbos, and he had Shalashadis, and he had no time for the other Apikoros. Finally, after Shabbos, the other Apikoros who came to visit him said, "Great Apikoros, what kind of Apikoros are you? You do everything. You're a regular chassid." He said, "Yeah, because I'm an Apikoros. You're just a guy. You wouldn't not keeping his mitzvahs." So the good Apikoros, still very much into Jewish culture, right? He keeps the Torah. He acts like a Jew. He still wears a yarmulke and still has a beard. So that's what God's saying now. Because they would be involved in keeping the Torah, the light, okay, the illumination in the Torah would have brought them back to the good side. Uvenusach acher, in Yerushalmi it has it as not in the Medrash Eicha. It says she'ilu othi azavu v'torathi shamaru. They could have abandoned me, but kept my Torah. Haseor shabaya mikarvan etzli. The leaven in it, the little bit of sourdough in the Torah, would have brought them closer to me. Okay? Brought them closer to me as opposed to brought them back to the good, and also instead of the light, okay, the ma'or, it's the seor. Now, normally, we say a prayer also that I think is in Yerushalmi. The Yetzer Hara is the seor shabat yisa. Okay? It's the sourdough in the dough. Okay? The Yetzer Hara's fault. And it's what causes everything. So Zuriel continues. He brings the parish of the Korban Eda. Remez l'sodot haTorah. This seor is a remez to the secrets of the Torah. So now he asks Zuriel, Ma'avdel being shtei nuschaot. What's the difference between these two nuschot? One is ma'or and one is seor. Ma'or sheba and the seor sheba. One is the light. It sounds more positive than the seor. Ella elu shemivinim magad l'masech Hashem betoch nesivas Torah lahem ma'or. The seor, the ma'or is referring to people who understand the greatness of God's deeds through the pathways of the Torah. Okay? Then the Torah is called the ma'or. The elu shemivinim rak the mixas. Those who only understand a little, okay, that the Torah is too deep for them to comprehend everything. So too, but still, even though the sourdough, is enough to cause the rest of the dough to rise and inflate itself, so too, the special influence, it's like hidden inside the strength and the holiness of the Torah is enough to influence those people who are studying it. Okay? For some people, it's like a seor, and some people, it's like a maor. According to the Eidah, it has to be learning the secrets of the Torah, like Kabbalah. So what you see is, if you actually have a deeper understanding of Torah, you'll understand a lot of concepts, how they intertwine. Okay? Oh, this means like that. And people who understand stuff have a lot greater comprehension and wonder in studying these things. Okay, so that's the first one. I wanted to just point out that down in this midrash, what do we get to? We get the idea of praxis over faith. It's a Maimonidean thing to look at. Let's say, what does a person actually believe? They really focus on their belief. Outwardly, what's most important for us, let's say, just as trying to keep society in line, is to just make sure to keep our people keeping the Torah. For example, we don't know that everybody's not going home on Shabbos evening and sitting in his basement and flicking a lighter. Okay, that's Chil Shabbos, but he's doing it in the recesses of his home, and that's not going to influence the rest of society to do bad things, right? The only thing we could do is publicly enforce Shabbos observance. So too, Gila Rayos. You're always going to have people who are up to no good. But as long as you don't make let's say, a establishment right in the middle of town dedicated to Gila Rayos, you've done your part. You don't make it available for people. So too with the rest of the mitzvahs. We just want people, first and foremost, to stay in line with how we are doing things, which, by the way, has an influence in why certain decisions were made in the past regarding keeping society in line. Like Zuriel writes about the Vilna Gaon's opposition to Hasidut. And one of the problems with the Hasidut at the beginning was just the fact that things are different. We need to keep people in line. Now, maybe there was also what to be alarmed about then, just from a technical halachic standpoint. But another issue was, keeping everything the way it's supposed to be. Now, when we look at this, we have to also understand certain people. I don't believe, like I said 3 weeks ago, that, let's say, really smart individual Jews are as bad apikosim or as atheists as they think they say they are. Right? We gave the example of Gadi Taub. Gadi Taub probably understands theology a lot more than, let's say, your run-of-the-mill balabas. So he's saying, I'm keeping Torah, I'm going to shul, I'm doing this now, I'm doing certain aspects of the Judaism. When he says I don't fully believe in God, it's to him because he doesn't have all his questions answered. But the balabas doesn't even ask questions like that. They just, God, that's it. Emunah pshuta. Okay? For people who are too smart for Emunah pshuta, the most important thing then is staying practically a Jew. Doing what they're supposed to. Don't do the averas, do the mitzvahs. And mitoch shelo lishma ba lishma. Right? They don't understand it, but soon, and actually have the right intention, but they will grow to do it. The ma'or shaba or the sa'or shaba will lead them to the right place. Okay. You want to drink or something to eat? Okay, we're going to read the next piece over here. This is much more relevant. Okay? Fear of things. The Rav Tzur is writing also in Taramuna that people should not have outlandish fear of that which they should not fear. So here it is, and the Rosh Kolish doesn't want me to say any of this because he takes the opposite approach of Zuriel. So he's not here yet, so we're going to say it now. Another defect in people's faith is Begam Nosaf, Pachad Mufraz Mefachadim Me'asatan U'Malchei HaMashchis. People are afraid of the Satan, which is the accusing angel, and angels of destruction. Amarnu Mufraz. Mufraz means, out of control. Okay? Drinking too much. That's Shtia Mufrezet. Ki ima Adam Shomereth Hagdarim Vavulot Shechazal Hitzivu. The person would actually keep to the limits that Chazal that they had set. Okay, the Geder around the Torah, around the Torah, who divrei udavar ra'uin v'nachon. Okay, so if a person understands what exactly he's supposed to do, stay within those limits, he should be safe. You can turn on the heat if you want. By the way, there's a heater right here. Just plug it in. That's fun. Mashal yesham nim na'im as kir shemo shel shemo ela krimlo davar acher abal davar. People are afraid to say the Satan or Satan, right? There are no people like that. So instead, what? So they say davar acher abal davar. V'omnam Rav Chaim Vital mevi b'shem Arizal. Ooh, that's all there's farm are from Rabbi Chaim Vital. He writes in this language: "Is suras karat shem Elohim achirim." You know the prohibition of mentioning other gods, false gods. Don't mention them. So he says, "Da ki karis hu shelo yaskir shemo shel Samael." That's another angelic name for the Satan. You're not allowed to say his name either. Hanikra Elohim achirim kayedu, because he's called Elohim achirim. Why? People worship the Yetzer Hara. They go after the Yetzer Hara. It's like they're listening to him and not to God. V'lo od ela afilu askir shem hashedim kamo ela shekorim b'lashon la'az el diablo. Okay, the devil. That's in Spanish. He knows Spanish. Okay, there are people afraid to say the names of shadim. As a matter of fact, I can't even say that word. I'm glad he's not here. They call them shindality. They don't say shade. They say a shindality. Okay, what?
Doesn't halakha specifically say that even if you want to bring off this stuff, any name of Allah that is mentioned in the Quran is allowed?
Yes.
Henceforth,
They should just go and say it. And by the way, lo says kiru, it doesn't mean, in context, it doesn't mean don't mention them. It means taking an oath, and even that's not in this context. It means praying to them. Okay? Yeah, taking an oath. Okay? So, but there's another that's covered by another Avera, if I'm not mistaken. So El Diablo, as you know, is Spanish, and Rav Zuriel says, well, it's Spanish, French, German, and English. Other languages are shadim in other languages, demons. Ein lahaz kiram ki magbir kocham. You can't say this. You can't say Samael or Satan or El Diablo or anything else like that, or the devil. Why? Because it strengthens them. Ushahaya Mori, he's talking about the Rizal, Zichrono Levracha, Mazkiro, Hayomer Samich Mem. He wouldn't say Samael, he would say the Samich Mem. That's what they say here. End quote. Okay? And V'lachein, Noagim Rov Lomdei Kabbalah Bizman Hazeh Lo Levatei B'Fem Alei Sitra Achara. They don't even say Sitra Achara, which is an expression in the Zohar. Okay? O Klipos. They don't even say that. You know, the husks. Ella Omrim B'Chinui. They say something else. V'chein Shem Shel Shida Reshit, one of the primordial demonesses. What's the feminine for demon in English? I forget. Lilith. What? Demoness. Okay, that's a demoness. Okay, fine. Lilith is mentioned in the few Midrashim. Okay? Lilith as being one of the first demons sired by Adam. Okay? Mechanim Lomar Plonit V'chayotzubo Harachakot. Okay? So they don't even mention that name, even though Lilith is now a given name for a woman. There are, I think, some famous women with this name. It's kind of weird how that became a name. Okay, the Chai Adam says though, Omer Shniyadas Karat Shemot Malchim Yirak Bamidbar. Okay, and he says, I don't know why Rav Zuriel said it should read this with a patach Bamidbar. With a patach, it would be in the smichud. I think he meant in a kametz Bamidbar. Whatever, thinking modern Hebrew. You're only not supposed to say their names when you're in the wilderness. I don't know why. Shalol etzorech, for no reason. Aval b'fiyutim mutar, if there's a piyut, you could say it. And then Rav Zuriel points out that l'chein shemo mufiyah b'virkadosh kivinu b'tfilat arvit. We mentioned the Satan in the davening, where the ser Satan milfanenu macharenu. Okay, take away our adversaries. V'agra omer piyutim k'moshe hutpesu. The Gra would say the piyutim which mention these names, just as written. Okay. There are piyutim that have names of angels in them. There are less of them now. Af Beri is an angel mentioned in the prayer for rain, for example. Right? Af Beri. The prayer for rain that's in the Ashkenazic Sidurim in Chutz La'aretz. They don't say it that much in Eretz Yisrael anymore, but there were lots of piyutim that mentioned all sorts of angels. Yeah. Mashmot should sorch divrei Torah mutter. V'nei kasum first b'fasuk Satan. It also says Zechariah saw the Satan standing over in the court, standing over Yoshua Kohen Gadol. V'chein muzkeret Lilith. Lilith is mentioned in Isaiah 34. Ha'aleh al dat shekasher ha'adam koreh b'mikra yidaleg ha'teva v'yishnek kriyata. If a person's reading, this in public, he should skip these parts, not mention the Satan and Lilith and the rest of them. V'chein chazal atzmam hitbateu l'shon Satan. The sages also use this word. Never had Rishonim say, don't read the Gemara. The Rambam doesn't have a halacha there in the Gemara. Don't read angel or angelic or demonic names. Young man, if you're getting too tired, you can go back to sleep and go home. What? Don't want? Okay, fine. Okay, so that was the first thing. This is even though this is a Kabbalistic, so people who are studying the Kisvei Hari and Bar-Hayim Vital and the rest of them, they're really against this. They wouldn't. They would be very upset for me saying all these things, reading this straight out as it is. Yeah.
I've spoken with people in my yeshiva on this thing. I said, even if you believe in all the demons or whatever, whatnot, don't they also believe that there aren't any influences? So,
I don't know.
is it like a whole concept of Shibin that says that in the Gemara?
I don't know. Can't say.
All discussion.
They said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, but maybe they were this. They don't care about them. So we shouldn't be afraid. So Rav Zuriel continues. This also we're going to remove a stumbling block here. Okay, this discussion. People actually ascribe some sort of independent existence and weight, right? Some power to these these upper level, these upper world forces, as though they have some sort of independence or autonomy from the Holy One, blessed be He. V'shalenu lira or liro mehem lizaher milasot pulot she'oruet chamatham, because we have to fear them, and we should be careful not to do anything that might actually awaken them, okay, or get them upset at us. Ad kedei kach higia pachad atzbani zeh shebiyameinu lo noagim likroa machla b'shem sartan. This fear of giving too much power to these other forces, today people are afraid to mention the disease sartan, which is Hebrew for cancer, by name. Yes, there are people like that. I remember when back, this has happened to me 20 years, more than 20 years ago in Florida. There was a guy who sat at our Shabbos table and told my parents that, yeah, he mentioned Yiddish, he had a machla, okay? He had the disease. You don't want to mention cancer, okay? This would really upset my mother, so I'm glad she's not listening. You don't want to say it because, it's not good. Watch out, okay? Elo machalahi. They say a machalahi, or in Yiddish they say, the equivalent of that. V'nizharim lo laskir tiv habracha va'osher shen'parech lahem adam. They also don't mention sometimes, on the flip side, the nature of someone's bracha. Okay, how good someone has it. Why? Because that given iron horror or something like that. Shema yiskanei davar acher v'yaziklo. Lest the davar acher step in and cause him some sort of damage. So you don't mention it. Bli iron horror. Okay, watch out.
Not good to do.
Yeah. Now our world is basically like this constant competition between forces of good, neged kochos hara, forces of evil. Sheyesh li ro mehit gabrut shel hara. You have to watch out. Don't give too much power to the bad side. V'adam mitgonein mipnei mipanav, and a person protects himself from it. Al yedei ma'asim mesuyamim shel segulot. They can protect himself by performing segulas. Okay, so he says, for example, having the red string. Okay, because there's evil forces at work, you wear the red string to protect yourself. Okay. Oh, lasim parsat sus al petach habayit. They put a horseshoe at the door to the house. They'll protect you. Stick some garlic there also. Oh, a chamsa. We mentioned these before. People have chamsas. What's the point of a chamsa? It's a good luck charm. Okay. Yeah. And other folk customs. Just like the ancient Persians, they were Zoroastrians. They believed in two heavenly forces, two balanced heavenly forces, right? Hermes and Ahermes, it's called in the Gemara. Hatova Ra, the good and bad. That's what he mentions. Zarathustra was I think he was the expositor of this idea. Also, the Christians in all these generations felt that there's this conflict and competition between the good and the bad, okay, the forces. Shebein malchim ma'ala b'saparam al merid malachim. We talk about also, Satan has this whole, insurrection going on. You heard about that? Fallen angels? Yeah. Their idea of the Satan is way different than that of ours. V'yesh b'zeh pegam gadol be'emunat yichud haborei. Right? Person who actually has these type of ideas, that's pegam in his belief in the unity of the Creator. Ki ach v'rak hu hakovei hakol. Only He decides things. It's all in God's hands. V'gam masha amru Chazal sitra achara. When Chazal mentioned the sitra achara, the other side, I don't know. Eno ella sad sheni shal matbeya. This is the other side of the coin. Valhu milchadi matov. He is one with the good. Lomar rahu shaliach bilvad. What we just perceive as evil in this world is actually just God's shaliach. It's like a punishment. It doesn't act independently without God's permission. Okay, so there you have Rav Zuriel's opinion regarding skulos and people being afraid to actually say things and other folk beliefs that are inappropriate. Okay? And we should all strive to be like Rav Zuriel.